Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Just going to do a relatively quick garden and bonsai update. As the bonsai are in the garden, just as well go all together, haven't we? My Deshojo maple is getting to the bush stage, which means it will need a trim in the not too distant future. What happens is the negative space goes missing, so you end up losing those pads that make the classic maple shape. So that will need a trim in the not too distant future. There's no urgency. My azalea, I believe, is beyond recovery. Now, it dropped all its leaves and to all intents and purposes was dead. Now, okay, it shot out again, but in so few places, 2/3 of that tree is dead. So I can't see it's worth bothering with. My trident maple, again, is looking a bit like a bush, but inside there is a nice trunk. My hornbeam has put on a fair bit of growth this year. Already we have pretty substantial extensions and some very big leaves. We do without these really. So again, a trim, in the not too distant future. Quite honestly, it's traditional for maples to have a June trim to get an awful lot of back budding. That remains to be seen. Now my little hawthorn is coming into bloom, and given that I was told by the person I bought it from it will be highly unlikely I'd get any blooms at all, we're appreciative of the ones we've got. But in amongst the blooms and the fact that I've got some, we do have some quite long extensions now, and oh goodness me, I never remember the lady's name, advised me to try and keep it as a ball shape. So keep all the new growth roughly the same length, and style it that way, because the buds come on the previous year's growth. Well, if all the growth is nicely contained in a nice shape, all the flowers will be on the outside and not tucked away like this. Yeah, so that's the idea with that. Down here, this is my Fuji cherry. It is down there, honest. And it's put on a lot of growth. Again, a little bit of a trim might be in order. That maple up there isn't doing bad. It hasn't totally lost its pads yet. You've still got that negative space there, but it's being lost on that side and up through there. So you can see what I'm getting at. Now this is my beech that we repotted very recently, and that's my drink that I'll get back to in a minute. This is going to be the new trunk extension, because I'd like this tree a bit taller, not much, but I'd like it to thicken out, and to do that is not that easy with beech, because the new shoots will extend dramatically and they'll leave the side growths behind it, literally behind, and they'll get weak. So it's difficult, but I'd like these lower branches to be out here, literally half as big again, so that the tree has a much more sort of dynamic overall shape. At the moment it's a bit long and thin. That's not a natural shape for a beech tree. This maple has gone to bush. It's lost all its negative space. Again, it will come back easily with a trim. The golden larch forest, sort of mini forest, is putting out a lot of growth now. But it's going to need bringing back into shape and trying to encourage the growth to form this archway, because where it was trimmed hard it lost it. Yeah, so I need it to push the growth in that way a bit. At the moment there's an awful lot coming forward which is not really required. Now in the tubs down here, these were some Himalayan honeysuckle pieces that were just in the wrong place, self-seeded. Here we've got two little buddleia seedlings that were self-seeded, hopefully from my buddleias. There's a reason for that, we'll get there in a minute. Right, back to the garden. Try and do it a bit at a time. Now what I am well pleased with is my ferns are really coming back. and that includes the big ones at the back that I thought I'd lost. So they are coming back. So all the different types of ferns are recovering. Now I know it might not be obvious, but that little fern there is not the same as that. They are different. And then obviously this one is very different. Yeah. So we've got 3, and I believe 4 different types of ferns in this area. The lily of the valley doesn't do that well for me. The blooms always get swamped by the leaves. That's just how it is. But what we do have now is the aquiledias are in full flood. The hart's tongue ferns here, I keep forgetting that that's a type of fern. They're pushing up new fronds, the old ones are all cut off. So that's coming on now. We've got a nice show of aquiledias, but I've lost the pale one. I did have one that was very pale, it wasn't purple. That's gone, that hasn't come back, which is a bit of a shame, but so be it. Buried in the undergrowth, could be a seedling of it though. I mean, if you look down here, there are seedlings of aquilegia. But what is putting on a nice show is the Welsh poppies. They're putting on a nice show now. And they are just a nice colour. Nice show. And even that large fern at the back there that I definitely thought was lost has come back. So that's good. Notice things are starting to droop. We need rain. It's just getting ridiculous. 5 weeks now this year since we've had substantial rain. 5 weeks. This is in the spring. This includes the month called April showers. Nothing. So I'm going to have to start putting a hose on the garden, which I'm reluctant to do because it's not the right sort of water really. Right, coming down through here, this is the campanula, starting to put on some height now. I think it might have to stay in that pot this year. It's a bit too late to transplant it now, and I can't do it in this heat. It's just not going to survive. The perpetual wallflower, which I thought was dying, seems to have come back a bit recently. And we do have some flowers and plenty more buds to come. That's good. Now this herb tub, there's 3 different types of marjoram here. The one on the right, the yellowy coloured one, and that one. The chives seem to have gone missing. They don't seem to have survived the winter. Now this is yarrow, and that's going to grow up here somewhere. The fuchsia that we dug up in pieces, that was one, well I thought it was one huge plant, but it came out in pieces. That's pushing on its growth now. Once it gets about a foot taller than that, I will pinch the tops and make it bush. And then we'll get a lot more flowers, but a much more compact plant. Now, one thing I didn't mention back here, the rose has got lots of buds. This always does well, this rose, despite most of the plant being absolutely dead as a doornail. But nonetheless, we do have rosebuds. And I've just noticed there's a geranium pushing up with a few flower buds as well. That's pushing up from the depth of the undergrowth. There's 3 or 4 different types of geranium in this border, but they have to come up through the foliage. They're not dominant foliage plants. The same here. There is a massive set of geraniums in this area, and they're just starting to break through. The flowers on that one are gorgeous. My acer's looking good. The camellia over there, most of the blooms have dropped now. There are still some nice ones. And the wisteria, I'll have to zoom in because it's in the shadows, otherwise you won't see it. That's looking good, but those blooms won't be there much longer. And that's exasperated by the lack of rain. All the plants are just dry, you know, so they're using up energy, just staying alive. Excuse me, still not right. Now over here, the forget-me-nots are doing brilliantly. They're putting on a really good show this year. as did last year. There's a few bald patches, but nonetheless we've got a good show, and the thyme and the other ground cover plants are starting to pick up a bit, but they've stalled. There's no rain. Nothing's growing much, and it should be. This time of year it should be putting on a lot of growth. Hopefully it will pick up. The cuckoo flower in the pots is doing well. Hannah transplanted a big clump from in this area back to here, so that's taken. So, but I'll have to keep my eye on it. If it dries out too much, then it'll untake, so to speak. Now, unfortunately, this buddleia is the white one that Gail gave me the money for. This was the dark purple one and the normal coloured one. They've both died. What this is in here, I'm not sure. It's probably Himalayan honeysuckle, but these are dead. I was hoping they were going to shoot out. Now, unfortunately, that is a waste of a really good pot. But trying to get those out is not going to be easy. Not going to be easy at all. The roots are solid. Shouldn't have had two plants in a single pot, really, or they should have been transplanted at the beginning of last year. They didn't get done, but nonetheless they drowned. Basically the drainage on that one disappeared, and in that long wet spell that we had, this actually filled with water, and I hadn't seen it because you don't come out in your garden much in the winter, do you? But Hannah spotted it. We tipped it over hoping that the roots would recover, but the plants have drowned. Hopefully now you can see why those two buddleia seedlings that we looked at earlier in the video are quite important, because if they are seedlings from these, then they will replace these, although they won't grow that much this year, possibly, I don't know. The lavender is putting on some new growth. It's a tatty plant. This will be its last year because it's gone all woody. So there's no point in cutting back into that woody stuff. It won't shoot out. The another herb, I'll get there in a minute, rosemary, has had quite a bit of dieback this time round. But they are sections of the plant that can be cut out. This is due a hard prune now. It's finished blooming. So all these dead bits can be cut off. And there's more than I thought there was. But they can be cut off, and the green stuff can be cut hard back, and it will all shoot out. This is the mother plant of the Himalayan honeysuckle. It's even got its first bloom. So that'll come on, but again that ought to have a good prune. But if I prune it now, we're going to lose some blooms. So be it, so be it. The red camellia bloomed early, and cold weather took most of the blooms off, so we didn't get much of a show on that. But the growth is absolutely incredible this year. What we've got to do is get in behind it and get this bamboo sorted out. Unfortunately, I am relatively certain that the blackbirds have nested in this corner somewhere. They seem to spend a lot of time heading in this direction and coming out from this direction. So can't really disturb that until after the nesting season, much as I'd love to get the hedge trimmer in there. Right, where are we? More thyme, more ground cover. The red valerian's coming on really nicely now. It put on a great show last year. I believe it's going to put on an even better show this year. And we've got some that side of the path as well. That's self-seeded, that bit. So this is the red valerian that came from Carroll in deepest West Wales. This is the pink version of the red valerian that Hannah took some seed from when we were at Burnham's in the driveway of the building next door. So hopefully that's going to show pink this year. We shall see. And then this is scabious. It's not the wild scabious, it's a hybrid, but we're going to get some flowers soon. This died back a lot in the winter, but it has come back. It's doing okay. My little Japanese larch is putting on a lot of growth. That will get a trim in the not too distant future, simply because this is not far off the bonsai that I want. It's getting there, yeah. Next time it gets repotted, it'll come forward a bit, because I decided that the other side was the front. I've decided this side is the front now. Consequently, it needs to be a bit more upright. This is my copper beech. Strictly speaking, this is a tree in a pot. It hasn't had much shaping done to it yet, so it's not a proper bonsai as I see them. Lots of people would probably kill for it, but yeah, copper beech. I put it in the sun. If it doesn't get full sun, it won't get its colour. So that's that. And over here we've got the last two bonsai, which is my Japanese white pine. The candles on this are starting to produce their needles. I need as much needle growth as possible on this little tree because it's losing its energy. It's got roots, we've done that. I've taken off all the flower buds, so the energy should now be put into the new needles. And even though these won't be masses of new needles, they will be good new needles, and they should put some energy back into the tree. And then my Scots pine, which we had indoors not long ago, again was losing energy last year. I've still got some work to do on this, because I'm going to remove this branch and turn it into a gin, so that this becomes the lowest branch, which is a good branch. It's got a nice pad to it, and then we'll have the canopy up the top and then the pads out to the right. But I want to see how the new growth progresses on that before I even think about doing something. And I did actually put the gin fluid, which is lime sulphur, on the shari and the gin, so you can see it's gone grey. When the sun gets on it, it'll turn white, and that enhances the look of the whole tree. And then this little bit of garden, I suppose you can call it, is still in jeopardy of getting trodden on, because we still haven't finished the decking. There's certainly nothing else going to be done on this week. Next week I'm hoping to have another go at putting some more boards down. I know how much I can do now. That one was with the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boards was comfortable. I got my kneeler out for the to kneel down and do the drilling and do the screws up, and it made the job relatively easy once I realised I could do that. So and another 6 boards. The new boards that Tony got for me, they're over there. They're not as big, so I'm still going to use them even though they're not the same size. I don't care, you know, they were got for me, which is appreciated. But if I put, how many have we got over there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 8. Well, 8 will probably take up the same amount of space as 6, because they're slightly smaller. That should fill it. That should get it done. So we've then got to sort out what to do with that corner, but that's another thing. Anyway, this bit of garden, now that I know that there's pavers underneath it, it's got hardly any root depth. But the bugle is in flower, the nice purple flowers. In the wild, that's a very important plant for one of our very special butterflies, which is the pearl-bordered fritillary. You can look it up, it's out now. It's a very early butterfly. It's a forest clearing butterfly, and its main nectaring plant is bugle and dandelion. So that's important, but I won't get any round here. Although there are some in the New Forest in various places, if you know where to look, which I do. And we might take a trip out and have a look at those next week. The London Pride's coming into flower here, whereas it's not in the other section of garden. Some of my ferns have recovered, so we've got 2 different types here. Got the feathery one and then the even more feathery one. Some of the ground cover plants have managed to survive. There's a massive clump of primroses there, and we've got some violets. We had some snake's head fritillaries, and a clump of bamboo there got a spray with the chemical yesterday because the early morning there was no breeze. You've got to be very careful spraying weed killer when there's other plants nearby. If there's a breeze and it drifts, you take out plants that you don't want to. But it's a strange weed killer. It goes 24 to 48 hours and nothing happens, and then the plant collapses. So I'm hoping that's going to take that bamboo down to dead. If not, it'll get another go. So there we go. That's where we are. Little row of primroses along there. Didn't do too well in last year's heat waves, and now we're having another one. Well, it's not so much a heat wave, but it's a dry period. It's just weather's all to pot. It really is. Wonder whose fault that is. It could be the fault, in part, of somebody who doesn't even believe that there is any climate change. Who knows? And on that subject, I'm going to get my wine and go back indoors and intermittently, oh look, the first damselfly of the year. No, he says he's going to land. He is, but I won't be able to zoom in on that. I was hoping he'd come down lower. So he was down here, I could have zoomed in there. Anyway, the first damselfly of the year. Yay! That's good. We need rain. We desperately need some rain. So that's what's going on in and around the garden. Some more work hopefully will be done on the decking next week. No doubt it'll rain next week. I don't care. The garden takes priority. The decking can follow on, you know. So we shall see. And what should we end on? Let's end on a nice Welsh poppy, because they are very attractive. I remember somebody saying, don't let them seed or you'll end up with a garden full of Welsh poppies. Would that be a bad thing? Really? Would that be a bad thing? See you next time. Thanks for dropping by. I forgot to say, we nearly got onto politics, but it was very cleverly sidestepped. But the politics in this country, as of today, has historically changed. Because for as long as my life has had any, not interest as such, but it goes on, you know, so you're aware of it, there have only ever been two parties. Now there's not. It's a historical change. The third party lurking in the background is coming up a bit, and we have two new ones. So we now have a 5-party system. That's going to make things very, very different. Perhaps some other countries could do with some of that instead of just two. But yeah, so history in the making today as the results come in. A third of the results are in, and one of the new parties is absolutely romping away. And the two main parties are still going downhill, both of them. They're fading. And they've been dominant for as long as I can remember, so at least 50 years. Nobody else got a look in. It's either one or the other. Those were your choices. And when they're both bad choices, it's not a lot of good. Anyway, we don't do too much politics, but as I said, this is historical, what's going on at the moment. Things have changed, and it's changed, I believe, for a very good reason. It's changed from bad leadership in both of those instances. Bad leadership, bad decisions, wrong decisions that the public just don't like, and it's changed the face of our politics. I can think of somewhere else that could do with some of that. Bye for now.